I mean, these teams are about as close as you can get to each other in North America. And that's what's going to make this match today so interesting. We'll go through the ban phase, find out what map we're going to play it on.
We're just waiting to see. Clubhouse Consulate is gone, Villa is gone, and we're going to go to Border. With eUnited starting on attack, for those that didn't tune in to EU, you now see the blue sword logo there, and obviously blue is representing eUnited, and now you know who's going to be starting where. So that's a really nice feature for you to know that Border is where we're going to go. Now, how do you think a map like Border is going to work against both of these teams, or work for these teams, and the historical precedent that is with the way that these two teams have played Border throughout the course of the season and through qualifiers?
So when it comes to Luminosity, they have only played Border once in recent history. It was January 14th, Pro League in North America, and it was against eUnited. And they managed to beat eUnited. So this is a rematch on the same map. What do you guys think? Who's going to win? You think that it'll be Luminosity just barely with 46%. That is 1% away from an even split there with a 10% draw. That's the second time this season we've been like within 5% of a perfect split community vote. That's wild.
I mean, I don't even know who's going to win this match. Like, to be fair, I didn't do my Siege GG predictions this week. Unfortunately, I was a little busy this weekend, and I didn't get around to it, so I think CGG just did them manually themselves. I think they just pick whatever the majority is. I have no idea how they go about it. But anyway, I honestly couldn't tell you who I think is going to win this game. Maybe LG has the leg up. I don't know if you would agree with that or not.
I mean, it's a difficult one to say. If we're looking at this as objectively as possible, well, like I said, these teams are like they're neck and neck. They really are like perfectly in line with each other in terms of their records. It's not an easy prediction. I don't think you could make a safe one and be like, oh yeah, confidently, I think these guys are going to win. No. I'm just going to take it as it comes. I'm going to expect Amira.
You know what I'm confident of?
What's that?
I'm confident that they're going to have a good time.
You know what? They probably will. Yeah. They definitely will have a good time. So either Valkyrie or Echo for the last ban. And everything else has been in line with what these teams typically ban on this map. So this has just been, basically the most standard Border ban phase possible.
And there goes Echo. So your speculation was correct. A Valk ban could have worked wonders here for both of these teams, as she is an operator that sees a significant ban rate on certain maps. But getting rid of Echo means that we might still see IQ from a comfort pick perspective, but IQ is not going to be as important in the past. It looks like Grixer is going to run her. eUnited does like her as a fragging operator. They can also work a Maverick into the composition, who's another operator that they like quite a lot. Absent is a Zofia. That's a little strange given how high her pick rate is, and honestly how effective she is on this site, especially if you have a team that is going to aggressively hold that armory wall. You can get a buck under there. He's got frag grenades. He's got a skeleton key. Well, he's got frag grenades for now. He's got a skeleton key, and he can do an immense amount of work underneath armory. And Zofia can work in a pinch, and so can Ashe too, if you don't want to have Grixer go under there. So there's plenty of tools for eUnited. But we've seen a lot of teams not really defend armory wall the same way. They instead open it up, and they'll play inside of CCTV or security. It looks like we're going to see LG play in security, but they're also going to take care of the armory wall. So nothing really innovative from LG in that setup over by the armory wall.
Yeah. I want to loop back to maps for just a second and state that with each of these teams only having 2 total wins in the season, for eUnited, both of their wins came on Border. And that makes it obviously their best map. Statistically, it was against Tempo Storm and Reciprocity that eUnited managed to win on Border. However, again, with Luminosity, one of their wins came against eUnited on this very same map. So, when it comes to the map, I think both of these teams have a great understanding of what needs to be done in order to win here. And so we're going to see maybe just some, maybe nothing too innovative, but some standard play at the very least. I think Rexon was sitting on top of the I want to see where Rexon is, because I swear I saw him on the fridge in CCTV, or in break room rather, specifically. And yeah, I know he's standing on the fridge in break room. I wonder if this is going to work out for him. I mean, the only operator who's going to be able to pull something like this off is going to be the Vigil. He'll drop down, though, and use an impact to get out, also costing himself over 50 HP, about, say, 55, around there.
That's an LG. That's an LG play.
Yeah.
Positioned up on top of the... positioned up on the fridge, just waiting, cheeky angle, waste time, get out of there, clumsily find a way back.
Yeah.
That's vintage LG right now.
I mean, at least he didn't die, right? Like that's the main thing.
That's a low bar.
Yeah, it is a pretty
At least
low
he
bar.
did not kill himself or die in the process.
Oh boy. But
well,
he has managed to kill some time. I mean, we're at half the round.
Yeah, and I mean he's a Vigil, so he's going to continue to just stay out of sight and range of wherever eUnited is going to enter from. If Doodle has set up the pests off-site as well, then Rexen can be particularly powerful, but one thing we're not talking about with this Thermite ban is that Thatcher is available. Thatcher is not always banned on border, but oh, beautiful play onto the Mozzie that was downstairs. We saw him on drone, and it was actually Yeti that was droning himself in, then relying on a teammate for the ping. Offsite play from Luminosity is now gone. That's a C4 as well. It's a dedicated armory take on their very first round, and they're stacked up on the balcony waiting to push on in. They've opened up more than enough clearance, but they're going to open up a little bit more. I don't know why they want to get that wall open as much as they are, instead of possibly alleviating some of that pressure on the other part of the wall, but no. They have a chance to go in. And they're clearing out some utility on the way as Alfama, greeted by Toxic Canister. You got Yeti all the way over on top of that vent balcony, and then you got the Ash of Alfama now, who's done his job inside of monitors. 15 seconds, you're going to have to start finding people if you're eUnited, because the Doodle pick is not going to be good enough. Instead, there'll be a bit of restlessness as the Jaeger will peek out. Alfama will get Jarvis, unsure of that decision-making from Luminosity, and both teams will trade punches inside of the site. Diffuser goes down, and well, the final punch has yet to be landed. Rexen took some damage earlier on, is still yet to be spotted. It's going to be Hyena now, walking up very slowly towards Armory from inside of Archives. K1A rattles over the head of Alfama. He is under fire, but proving to be too difficult to take care of him, as he's got the Maestro now locked in his sights. And there it is, landing the final blow is not just eUnited, but the Frenchman himself. Extraordinary play, with none of the remaining 3 members of Luminosity able to do much against him. EU will take the very first round.
So, fantastic round there from Alfama, managing to not only cover the flank, but also put himself between his planter and the remaining 2 defenders at the most crucial moment of the round. Props to him. Also even assisting in the entry with the Ash charges, getting the necessary utility out of the way to allow for a push in through the main armory wall. Now, we didn't see the entirety of that grind over by the armory wall, but we know it was pretty vicious, as LG managed to take eUnited down to just 2 remaining players on their entry. But again, it was Alfama to save the day, and I think we've been saying that a lot when it comes to eUnited. And it's absolutely justified. So many rounds, not only in this match, but in all the other matches eUnited has had with Alfama on their roster, have actually come down to him putting up big rounds as an individual. And I know I've said it a few times, but I'm going to keep saying it because I think it's a sentiment worth echoing. Alfama has really proved it was worth for eUnited for him to be brought over to North America, and his position on this roster has not only been supported by his team and is as such solid, but also just the individual play from Alfama has been just individually impressive, doing it himself a lot of the time, and I think that's worth keeping in mind. But first round eUnited, it was a rather close one, to be fair to Luminosity. They did manage to put it, again, to a 2-on-2, so that's not terrible. Alfama's in already, and he'll get bounced back on by LG, and answered even more as Grixer also died on the entry in through, I assume, Passport? No, not Passport. Wherever it was that they rushed in from, it did not work out.
When you've got the stakes that both of these teams are playing at, those are the types of things that you're going to see is the bodies of stacked up inside of customs. But I mean, LG is basically gift wrapped that entry from eUnited, and at least the two operators that went down are not superbly necessary when it comes to pulling off the execute that eUnited is going to need. They've still got the soft destruction, they've still got hard destruction, they've still got the anti-gadget from Thatcher, so you've lost two fragging operators, and in terms of kill death and rating, etc., Grixer and Alfama are, you know, two of the top three alongside Yeti. So the entry will continue over on that armory wall, as now Forrest is waiting to catch the Mozzie. Jarvis is dead, and it's basically just a matter of time now as a frag grenade goes out. Jarvis takes some damage, there's Forrest pushing up, and he's dead meat. But he's got a teammate to help him, that's Rexon. The carbine shreds through Forrest, and the Jaeger is able to very nimbly retreat. So you've further worn down the numbers, and essentially that trait is going to continue to favor you the longer it goes on. There goes Call Out above. He gets blown up from a C4, and he has no idea, no wherewithal that it was lurking underneath him. It's Yeti in a 1v3. A minute to go. We've seen plays like this work out before, but I cannot stress how unlikely it is that Yeti is going to be able to make this work.
Yeah, this time the grinder worked out for Luminosity once again, actually. But the difference maker was, of course, in this case, United rushed two players in earlier in the round and made it somewhat unwinnable for themselves. Now it's Yeti getting one in the hallway. Only needs to find two more. His position is well known. He's got plenty of time. He doesn't need to rush, but he's got very little HP. A likely die to a single shot, and there it is. Hyena getting that single shot in. Luminosity will take their first round. And yeah, like I said, I mean, the two early deaths for eUnited were bad, but it was also the fact that the grinder upstairs worked once again for Luminosity, and the bomb site was somewhere else entirely. So after you've already lost your manpower, you have to push downstairs now with almost no manpower. I mean, it's not ideal. I want to briefly touch on that nade from Yeti. That was actually a really beautiful nade off the little pillar by metal, bouncing straight into lockers. Had the Mozzie been by like the standard locker spot, he would have died, but he was playing a little bit further back, a little bit safer. And you know what it got me thinking, Parker? Yeti is such a good buck player, and like we always talk about Yeti's buck. It's a big thing with him. And he has also put in a lot of time, probably many dozens of hours, practicing for like secret nade spots, things that no one else knows. And pretty soon, all those hours he spent learning those nades will amount to basically nothing unless he decides to change his main operator, which isn't ideal considering, again, how great Yeti is on Buck. I just found it really funny.
Yeah, and Buck is by far and away his most played operator for basically almost every season that I've watched him, at least. I can't remember, because if you recall, the first match we ever casted together, Yeti was in. It was Rogue when King George was on the team, back when this was, you know, the old NA Rogue roster, versus World's Best Gaming, which was like, it was Dynasty, Temper, Tranks, Gun Havoc, and Yeti. And they were known as Core Impact. And that was the very first match I'd ever casted. So I can't remember exactly the role that he played. I think he was on Ashe an awful lot, but Buck has definitely become his main, and yeah, that's going to be a challenge for him.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting shift for sure. I'm looking at the match right now because, oh yeah, there we are. That was a long time ago. 2017.
That was like September 26th or something like that, if I remember.
Late September 2017.
Yeah, because I landed in Poland. I flew out Saturday night. I landed in Poland, technically Sunday morning / Sunday afternoon, and then had to like immediately settle in. I was in a hotel for 2 days, and then we casted like literally the next day. So not only is my first time in Europe, but have fun with the jet lag on that one, right?
It was an interesting one, but I think that was actually a really good cast, to be honest. Like right off the bat, it just worked. So long ago now. So weird to think about. But I mean, here and now, got these teams playing out against each other. Some players from that match way back. I think just Yeti, that I can recall. Half the round has transpired here in round number 3. Could go either way. No casualties just yet. I think the wall has been opened, though, thanks to Alfama opening from below, getting those bandit charges.
It seems that way.
At the very least, he's forced the bandit off the wall.
I don't know if they're reading correctly that they can head in to archives right now. It'd be Jarvis essentially in a duel. It doesn't look like there's anybody else out there. There's the C4 ready. He tears it, and Alfama hears it, so he knows that he's being watched, and he'll wait and just linger by the window before dropping off. I don't know if the plan was to shake Alfama off of that position, but he'll come right back and actually see Jarvis. He knows that the Valkyrie's in there for just but a second. And of course, the R4C is a much better weapon.
Oh.
Jarvis taking some damage, but he is adeptly hiding in the corner, unable to get shot at. Final 30 seconds, and there's been no action right now. No opening pick, no duels, nothing. Waiting for the call for Yeti to burst into sandwich with Alfama up on that on balcony, just waiting. There's a run out from Doodle. He takes down Yeti, cuts him right off the wire. Doodle cannot be secured as Alfama is twisting. Forrest breaks on it. Down goes Factor. Jarvis jumps up. So does Rexon. And it's all Luminosity. Diffuser is being planted, though. Call out covered exactly as you need to from Grixer as the LGC4 fails to kill the Hibana, though does some damage. Both Grixer and Callout are a little bit worse for wear. They've got a cross held here, and as long as nobody from LG rotates over to monitors, this could be winnable. Grixer with one, but traded off by Jarvis. A big round from both Doodle and Jarvis. 3 kills for Doodle, 2 kills for Jarvis, and they'll fight over who gets to disable the diffuser. Looks like we'll need to rehost, but upon exiting this lobby, Luminosity will have the lead, 2-1.
Defenders win.
Solid job there for Luminosity on the retake strategy, as we saw it be. Looks like they were going for a little bit more of a laid-back kind of setup, and it worked out great. That plays to their strengths, in my opinion, because we've seen it be the case that in past rounds where eUnited will try to enter into the site, they'll get control, and then with that control, they'll lose too much manpower, maybe get the plant, and have a struggle to hold out in the rest of the round. Even in the first round, where we saw eUnited actually win, they just barely so won because of Alfama on a big individual tear, managing to get 3 kills, stopping the flank single-handedly, stopping the retake single-handedly. You know, these are things that you can't rely on happening. And if Alfama didn't have sound for that round, it makes a lot of sense with the way he was playing, because he didn't react very much to the C4 rip. He did, but it was belated. He also wasn't reacting very well to the runouts that we were seeing. He clearly didn't hear the window break over by Office, which would have hinted into the Rexon runout. And there's a lot of layers to that. But overall, a solid round from Luminosity is the main takeaway for me. Even though they took some pretty big risks. Like Jarvis playing in Archives, that was a huge, huge risk the way he was doing that. And since there was no Jaeger ADS, a single stun, and he was basically a free kill for Alfama.
And he did get stunned by Alfama too, right? He dropped in those the flashbangs / concussions through the window, and he could have very easily just vaulted in. There was nobody watching Jarvis from that position. You know, I think the other members of eUnited that were over towards Archives were, one was in Fountain and the other was prone behind the desk. You knew that Doodle was downstairs, somebody was in small office. That covers your 5 members of LG. And once the vault out from the bandit happened, unless you have not droned out Archives at all, eUnited should have had that information. You've got 10 drones. You can put a drone inside of the triple panel inside of Office. You can put a drone over towards Fountain if there's nobody actively playing it. You can drone up the top of metal detector and stash a drone there and just play off of sound in terms of proximity. And that's another thing that a lot of people that watch this game tend to do forget, is that even though your drone might not have a visual, if somebody's playing right next to the drone, even if you can't see them, you sure as hell can hear them. So you can essentially pick up where people are based upon their location, and anybody who's moving, shuffling, leaning, etc. is going to be coming in clear as day. So eUnited seemed to drone very effectively on the first round. They got that opening pick on Doodle. They had control of the front of Armory. They knew exactly how to execute, and they won their gunfights when they divided their forces and conquered from there. But the problem with that third round was they all lined up in the same places. Alfama and Yeti were both essentially non-factors in that round. They weren't putting any pressure on the defense to try and distract them. And the 3 other members of eUnited were all over an armory wall, and while they were able to get the wall open and go for the execute, All Out essentially rushed in after somebody on his team, Forrest, got in the opening pick, but then was immediately traded off. You've still got Yeti and Alfama. After Yeti died, of course, you then have Alfama playing in a position where he really can't do all that much. It was an unfortunate split strategy from EU that just was a little too weak in almost every area, and they didn't, like, I understand the idea, but they just didn't have the actual execution of it.
You know, the really big kicker for me is that if I recall correctly, the bans are Thermite and Capitao, and that means Nomad's in play. And so if you're going for a strategy that involves repelling on the sandwich window or playing the vents balcony, that means you need a Nomad. Like, she facilitates that strategy. She is the key there. She's the linchpin, and it's why she's often banned on border, because if you can get rid of that strategy as a defensive team by just banning Nomad and thus disallowing it, because if they go for it, we'll just run out on them. If you can disallow that strategy, if you could get it out of the way, you put your team in a really great spot as a defensive team. And, LG has allowed Nomad to go through, and yet she's not getting played. And so the strategy is not working for EU because they're not bringing the right tools for the job. I mean, so if you've got a Thatcher, you don't have to bring an Ashe to Ashe charge from below, even though she is very meta right now and she can be used for other things. Maybe bring a Nomad, put her on the balcony, have air jabs on all of the runouts. Bam, problem solved. Then you can apply the pressure you want to apply from the sandwich window, from the event's balcony window, without worrying about somebody killing you from the sides or from behind. We've got everybody in the lobby now. So as soon as everybody says ready and we load in and we determine that all the settings are correct, we will be able to get back into the action. It's only a matter of time.
Lickety split, as I believe they say. So we got the lobby up. We're ready to go in. Hopefully everything has been fixed and addressed on the eUnited side of things. And you raised a very good point before we do get into round number 4, and we'll see which third bomb site we're going to have defended by Luminosity. And I say this because, well, they've won both Workshop and Armory, so they have customs or bathroom available. It looks like right now, everything seems to be good. We're going to go into a bathroom teller's defense for LG, a bathroom teller's take for eUnited. But, you know, eUnited don't really like to change things up, but immediately you're going to notice one thing. Almost as if they were listening into you, but there's a delay, so obviously that's completely impossible. It's going to be a Nomad swapped off of from a Thatcher, and that's going to be in Forrest's hands. So Thatcher, can be very useful on this bomb site, especially if you're going to go for a B-wall take. If you're going to try to take that teller's wall, it's very easy to just put something down underneath it and just EMP it off, because a lot of teams don't really want to peek the window that's there. If you've got somebody playing farther away, it can end up being a death sentence, but it kind of goes both ways. You might not want to peek it if you're a defender for the same reason. So you don't necessarily need a Thatcher as much here. The triple panel walls can also be an issue, but we've seen teams, run Maverick before on those triple panel walls, so there's flexibility from the attacking side of things. I'm curious as to whether or not that Nomad is going to be a longer change, or if it's just going to be for this round because of the way that Bathroom Tellers ends up playing out.
I mean, I guess we'll find out, but I would guess that it's a direct response to the 2 runouts we saw in the last round, because I'm sure eUnited discussed it during the rehost and said to themselves, you know what, let's just not deal with that. Let's just bring a Nomad. They can't run out on us. Problem solved. And it'll make playing a lot easier for eUnited just because they have one less thing to worry about. Control in CCTV established for eUnited. They're also setting up outside the bomb site. They know they need to clear into office. Alfama's going to try and, let me see, is that clearing ADS possibly, or just no? He wants to deny the angle with the stun before opening the door so he doesn't get shot. More pressure applied to office with that wall, or rather door, being opened up.
Bomb located by attackers.
Nothing too crazy going on so far. We haven't seen the contact inside of Armory. We expect it to happen at some point.
This is interesting, using those Hibana pellets to open up the armory wall, knowing that you've still got a lot to tackle, and you're not really going to be able to use much of her gadget on the triple panel wall, on bathroom, on workshop downstairs. You're going to have, at best, a small crouch hole that you might be able to rotate through. LG are aware that the push is going to come in from armory, so they've fallen off the front of armory that you see, and in doing so, they managed to catch somebody from eUnited. I don't know if that was a straightforward gunfight. I don't know if they just caught Grixer as he was entering and wasn't looking, maybe not even getting droned in, but no, it was actually a swing from Rexen. All right. Well, that's really something. Unfortunate for EU to lose Grixer earlier on. The IQ is not going to be that integral in terms of her gadget, but Grixer obviously a great player, good gun in hand. This could be tough for EU, who've once again just lost that opening duel.
Trying to get some more pressure applied to the office itself. The real tricky part is the hard destruction. Hyena's going to get Yeti, but there's a response from Forest. One known by monitors, and that player is dead as Alfalma gets a great entry. Forest gets another as he pushes into Fountain, but it's all on Alfalma and Forest as Factor answers back. 2-on-2, diffuser down, needs to be recovered. There's only 30 seconds here for eUnited now that they have that diffuser. I think they've cleared office, but they haven't. Jarvis is still here, and he'll get one, but not the second. Forest with a great refrag. Now the one-on-one, but only 15 seconds for Forest to make a play. Positional advantage to Factor, that's for sure. He can boost up and deny this plant. It'll be an attempted one, though. Oh, and that actually will provide full cover to Forest. Factor has to go, and he has to go now, whether he knows it or not. He'll try to position himself in meeting. Not going to happen. Oh, the vault, though delayed, has been called out here, and Forest has full information. He's set up for the quad, and he should be able to get it in this post plant. It's a little bit of damage, and a little bit more. Factor put on just 1 bullet's worth of HP. Forest holding the push over by Blue. There's no rotation right now, but Factor's going to use a shotgun to make a bullet hole to try and fake things out. Good read from Forest, and he'll take the round. eUnited, a great clutch. Forest with the 4K, user plant, and the win out in the 1v1.
The Nomad ends up working, but not for the reasons that you would imagine, just simply for her loadout and her kit, and also having Forest play a little bit more conservatively with Nomad. You're not going to be one of the first people into the site as you would necessarily be on a Thatcher. Tough going from Luminosity. Also, not to be overlooked is that despite how close these matches and these rounds have been rather in this match, there have been 3 diffusers planted from eUnited now. That's great. Really strong play in terms of their ability to get in the site and have some control. Now, if we assess the way that Luminosity have been playing on defense, both of the armory takes from eUnited were not a hard-fought diffuser plant. Luminosity was largely absent from holding the parts of the site that you'd expect a team to plant on. So the only site where there was some trouble from EU was this workshop ventilation site. That was it. The 2 armory takes and then bathroom tellers, even though bathroom tellers came down to the wire, obviously, with the diffuser going down, and it looked like hope was lost for eUnited for a while there. Both of the armory takes from eUnited have been designed in a way where they are trying to push from separate areas, but have also been designed equally from Luminosity to basically allow eUnited to get in and get some semblance of control of the front of the site by armory wall, and then LG either respond with nitro cells or clamping down on the remaining almost lurking-esque flanking members of eUnited, because you know that eUnited is going to have 1 or 2 people who aren't going to be playing with the cut and thrust of an execute. That's usually Yeti and Alfama's job. So I think Luminosity are prepared for it, and they've been good at being able to fight back against it, but you can have every single defense be one that is, designed around you giving up that control. It will eventually start to bite you and cost you. As this game goes on, the attackers will learn to deal with it. So the real test for eUnited and the real test for Luminosity here, but for different reasons, are going to be, now that it's a ventilation workshop defense for LG, the question then becomes, are we going to see a hard-fought plant go down, or is Luminosity going to be just as fine and just as sharpened as we saw on their last vents and workshop defense in round number 2?
Well, right now, eUnited have control of stock and customs, which is solid, but they're going to lose Yeti to Rexen, who runs out from East Stairs, I believe? Surprised that nobody's watching or has control of East Stairs yet. Rexen will get refragged by Forest. a little bit late there, but better late than never. And yeah, that lack of control is going to cost United their soft destruction, or at least the majority of it. They can apply pressure to the bomb site still, but they need to clear upstairs. And after clearing upstairs without a buck, you're not really using it for very much. You just have to get the defenders off upstairs so you can plant. And since that's been such a focus for eUnited, that's of course going to be the case in this round. Top 4 control not really being stacked upon by eUnited. I'm guessing Yeti was a crucial role in this take, because it's taking a pretty long time. That Mozzie Pest is still alive. It could have been shot numerous times, but no. Alfama's just been chilling in customs this whole time, basically, for almost a minute and a half, really. And he's accomplished nothing thus far. He's waiting for an opportunity to do more work, but he's actually going to lose a lot of HP as he peeks over the shield. He'll get that shield, but and that's going to allow an entry later in the round, but that's a lot of HP lost for it. And considering the situation, not ideal.
There was a moment there where eUnited only had one person droning, and that was Forrest, as he was upstairs trying to do his best on that armory wall. Hyena's spot had been called out, and a pre-fire from Grixer will connect and actually give a lead to eUnited now, as Rexon had died earlier on after Yeti had fallen from EU. So back in charge, but the time not their greatest ally. Very little time remaining in round number 5 now to see eUnited be able to pull this one off. The only person who's really taken any lumps so far is Alfama, and that was from the UMP that we'd seen earlier in Hyena. A sprint in from Alfama is met, but Grixer just gets an opportunity and takes control of the opening that he has, and he's just going to have to isolate and box out Jarvis, as he will fight up against the Mozzie and trades it out. What a beautiful play from Grixer. The final 4 kills are all his. That's some adept stuff. And eUnited really just find an avenue and plow right through.
It's worth noting, if not for Grixer, that round was well in hand for Luminosity. It was, in fact, a absolutely rock-solid hold on everywhere except for the actual bomb site. So great job to Grixer, like you said, finding the opportunity and seizing upon it. Managing to take site control, then hold it out in the end, go for the 4K and grab it. Now, it's the last round for Luminosity on defense, and they'll go to Armory for their last bastion, see if they can make it happen, or if this is going to end up a 4-2 for eUnited. There is a Nomad being brought this time, which means that eUnited are unlikely to get run out on while attacking the Armory wall, though that is assuming, of course, that they actually put their air jabs down in the right places to counter the runouts from Luminosity. Still, though, the fact that there is a Nomad is considerably better in terms of how thought out this attack is when compared to some of the other attacks we've had from eUnited on this bomb site. That last round was an interesting one, for that it came down to one man and his 4K, of course. Grixer with the big plays. Apart from that, really just eUnited trying to get control of, I guess, customs. Nothing happening from it. Control of Armory was too slow because they lost Yeti early on, and not much else to talk about. I think that eUnited just got a little desperate when they rushed in, and they started losing bodies, but in the end, again, one of their players didn't die on the entry, and in fact picked up a 4K.
It looked like Grixer actually droned himself in to find the Goyo after he took out the pulse. I noted that there was very minimal droning going on, and you know, Grixer bursting in really did kind of take my thought away from me, because obviously there's action going on screen. But the thing for Grixer was that, you know, Forrest was droning from above while Call Out and Alfama were waiting for calls, obviously. Yeti's dead, so he's not that much of a factor outside of maybe watching a drone that's been stashed somewhere on the map, and obviously never discount somebody who does that. It's very possible that there could have been a drone, maybe even in sight, that eUnited was reading off of, that was, you know, Yeti obviously able to see and call from. But regardless, Grixer basically droned himself in and then just went for it and reacted very adeptly. He has obviously the angled grip on the G8 allows you to do those types of plays now. Probably wouldn't have been able to do it with the vertical grip. And really so much of that round, as you pointed out, you know, it was a stall out that was very much happening from eUnited. Luminosity was the better team through most of that round, and then Grixer just decided, I'm not losing this, and took charge on his own. While the rest of his team, I don't even think they'd made it in the rest of the building after Alfama fell. You had Forrest above and you'd call it by the main door, they were a little apprehensive about being able to do anything. So we're halfway through this round, Michael, and it looks like yet again, did Alfama miss?
No, he didn't miss. That's a bug. It's 2 different Ash charges on the same Evil Eye, and it persists. So now Luminosity will have endless information on the armory push. Very powerful. Unless I'm mistaken,
that's gotta be rough for you.
Yeah, it definitely didn't look like a miss to me. I watched both of them pretty closely. It looked like it was dead on from my perspective. But, you know, if you do hit the wrong side of that shelf, it can potentially be a miss. I just didn't see him that way. No clear on half wall, and that's going to allow for easy denial for Rexon. I'm really not sure what was going on there for eUnited, as they haven't cleared out the most basic of steps before going for an execution and a plant attempt, and as such have lost 2 of their players. But Nomad has been dispatched on the play outside. I believe that was on the north side, maybe by the balcony. P4 still below. Free place. The Buck will push in to try and stop it, and he'll be successful. Great job to Yeti. Nade comes out. That goes towards lockers. Half wall finally cleared out by Alfalma. Grixter also gets Jarvis as he attempts to rotate, and now the plant will start to go down. Hyena in a 1 versus 3, and he's not going to be able to make anything happen from here. He'll get 1 kill, and no more, as Yeti will shut him down on the cross. The execution working out for eUnited despite the first attempt going so wrong.
Patience perfectly for eUnited, as they were quicker and sharper, even though they had that bit of a stumble with the Maestro cam. Once that armory wall opened up, they were able to punish it a lot better. I think I said this in round number 3, that it might have been round number 4, where I said Luminosity can't keep setting up these really deep defenses where you give away full control of one of your sites and then just hope to fight back. You know, that could maybe work if you're playing aggressively inside of monitors or security. That can maybe work if you've got a couple picks because, you know, there are other attackers that are maybe entering from, you know, over by triple panel or over by office or archives. And then you know that you can fight off the attackers who are going to be on armory wall. But when you've got 3 to 4 people in eUnited, especially one of them with a great gun and one of your, you know, your better aimers, attacking armory wall, and the nearest operator from eUnited is playing by the B doorway, you know, unless you've got somebody down below with a nitro cell and you've got some really outstanding calls, you're giving up way too much land. And the one thing that eUnited did to their credit was they got better as every round went on and taking what they were presented from Luminosity. eUnited were much faster and much more successful because there are only so many places that you can really hold these positions on a map like Border. It's a decently small map when you look at the actual sites, and we didn't really see anything out of the ordinary for Luminosity in the way that they'd set up rotates. You know, you see teams put a deployable shield down like Forest is doing over by 90. You'll have a rotate inside of monitors. You might have a rotate inside of Fountain. You might even have lines of sight in Fountain. Most of that was absent. And, you know, this is what I'm talking about when I say innovative. What we're seeing from eUnited that was absent from LG is, yeah, I mean, it's not a perfect defense and it can still be picked apart. But at least there's different things that are being brought from these teams. And LG, who went to Armory 3 times, they lost it twice. They very easily could have changed something up and stopped giving up so much space at the front of the Armory wall that eUnited were just able to take advantage of time and time again.
Well, now that we have switched sides, Luminosity onto attack, eUnited onto defense, we'll see very much different play from both teams, I'm sure. Right now, it seems there aren't any roamers downstairs, and you can see that Factor wants to come in from below and open up with this skeleton key. Taking him a while, but he'll get in there. Not going to waste any shots on the jail wall. CCTV control is big here for eUnited. And if this can be read by LG, then some nades from below could net some easy kills. Mark's coming out on the players in CC. Here comes the skeleton key. But, oh, standing on the desk. That's a good call from Grixter. Bleeds some damage from the player on Repel, but the double shield setup is really helping Grixter here. Buck opening even more by Banana. Here's the run out from the Jaeger. And a bad miss from Yeti. Ooh, that is unfortunate. It'll allow the pressure from Luminosity to continue to be applied from that West Repel. Meanwhile, Alfalma's been dispatched, which means it's a 5-on-4 advantage LG. And as the CCTV pressure continues to mount, Yeti will alleviate it by running downstairs and taking out the Buck. Great play there from Yeti, knowing his craft well and being able to counter people playing on his role.
Jarvis was in a position now to try to out-duel Yeti, and not many people are able to do that, but Jarvis can't find the kills. And because his team is right now currently tied, as long as he can keep Yeti busy, that might actually help, because Grixer is low, Forrest doesn't exactly have the best kit, the Doc will be able to frag well if needed, but instead of keeping him busy, he also gets the kill. So advantage goes back in favor of Luminosity, final 40 seconds, and you're going to need to get towards the site a little bit quicker. Jarvis is still down below, so is Hyena. Where is your take going to come from? Is it going to be over on the archive side? Is it going to be over towards offices? Is it going to be over on Armory Wall? Well, we don't know. Grixer's managed to make his way out of monitors. He's going to sit by the Goyo shield inside of Armory, and he'll be able to play through those slats and see anybody. As there goes some of the Armory Wall, or at least we thought it would, but it gets yoinked by a magnet. And that's some great playmaking from Grixer. He's under pressure. There goes another magnet. Forrest levels Hyena. Flashed as the Wamai, and down to the bottom, you're going to see Forrest go. That Nitro Cell's not going to go off, and the guns from LG are just too much better, but a kill for Grixer as Diffuser goes down. We've seen the attackers be so successful. It's Callout and Grixer both lined up in the same spot. I believe we're going to see a kill now onto Grixer, and, well, this is a major challenge. Rexon's been down, finished off. Doodle is there. Callout now will need to go for the stick, but Doodle's going to have to pressure. Where is Doodle? That's the real question. My feed is frozen. I don't know if you've got the same thing.
Oh, Doodle managed to clutch it out there in the 1v1 as the push came out from the Doc. Doc attempting to disable that diffuser, and, well, Doodle managed to take that one. That was a mess. That was a mess of a retake. Really, really weird to watch, because we saw a couple of opportunities missed. That C4 could have just stopped the round from happening in the first place, at least in the way that it did. The C4 fell short. And then the push from eUnited was not together. It was not as a group. The communication, clearly, on the engagements was poorly transferred, as it seemed like the attackers were winning numerous engagements, or at least putting more pressure up than they should have been able to, given that their positions were known and had been given away by previous deaths on the defensive side. A really weird round for eUnited, and a surprisingly successful execution for LG. The response from eUnited will be to go to a different bomb site. They'll head down to ventilation, which is likely to be more successful based on what we just saw.
Yeah, that was weird. Thank you for covering on that. My feeds kept stuttering and freezing, and then ultimately both of them crashed. So it happens from time to time.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's happened to me before. A couple times already. That's just kind of the life with remote casting, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, because no other internet issues were appearing on my side, but I wish I'd actually been able to see the clutch. It was a mess is a great way of putting it. There was a scramble from LG to get in to get the diffuser planted, and it did manage to go down. The objective has been played 5 of 7 rounds. That's not bad. We don't really see anywhere near this many objective play usually in most maps.
Parker, I give it a solid 5 out of 7.
I think it does speak to both the way both these teams are playing, though. I noted that the Armory defense from Luminosity was very laid back. It was very, it was very passive, and it was largely centered around a retake or possible winnowing down of the numbers that we had from the attackers. So that's just the way that it was designed from Luminosity. Whether it worked or not is an entirely different question. However, that defense that we saw from eUnited was all centered over towards security. And speaking of eUnited, they have forfeited the very first 2 picks to Luminosity. They now find themselves trailing with just over half of the round to go.
I was about to say, meanwhile, here's Factor with 2 kills. I mean, he spent a lot of his HP to get those 2 kills, but he's given his team another strong advantage in the early on the attacking side, and this seems to be reoccurring for Luminosity. They also have control of the majority of the top floor, the parts that they really need. And it seems like the defenders have fallen back off the top floor, as they don't have enough manpower to hold it anymore. Now, the one silver lining here for eUnited is there's only about a minute left in the round. That's just going to be barely enough time for Luminosity to drone out and then get a successful execution off, depending on how they play it. Given how quick we've seen Luminosity be on attack recently, though, that I mean, it might just be comfortable. Positioning here from Yeti is very dangerous. He'll fall back. Pressure being applied to Alfama in the site. He's got a large task here with the UMP playing inside a workshop. The push from Yeti is shut down by Hyena. Alfama gets cut off on a rotation, and there it is, the cleanup from LG. Factor with a big 4K, and Luminosity will take one more round on attack.
Bloody brilliant stuff there from Factor, who, when he catches fire, can obviously consume rounds entirely, and he does so with the rest of his team supporting him. Honestly, a lot of that round really just came down to eUnited getting caught in very poor timing. A couple of those kills came in from obviously calls and information that was made by the rest of their team, and when they were being acted upon by eUnited, LG was just faster and quicker to be able to get out of the area where the call was being made from. You know, the good thing to keep in mind about most calls are that, what do they say? The information is no longer accurate within 5 seconds. Well, when you're looking at the swiftness that teams are trying to take the site and they're pushing down the stairs, it's even less than 5 seconds. A call might be wrong by the time it's finally left your lips. In this case, it certainly was for eUnited. They lost a ton of gunfights. They weren't particularly well organized, and they were having issues with being able to make the calls to react upon. And some of that was also just because they weren't playing close enough together. They were playing far more spread apart, and LG was, to their credit, moving more like a unit. Now, Armory and Workshop have not worked out for eUnited on defense, and this is very much an attacker-sided border. I think we can safely say that, which is going to benefit Luminosity through the stretch. But they've already done a pretty good job of establishing themselves on attack here. It's another Armory defense from eUnited. It'll be upstairs, and it will once again center around that hold inside of monitors and CCTV/security that you saw in the very first defense from eUnited.
I'm curious to see how the CCTV hold works out this time for United, considering its lack of success, I'd say, over the last time. Factor teaching you new things, as everybody now knows how they can vault up onto the ventilation unit to get the nade angle that Factor is going for. Being droned in to try and establish that angle. This droning technique is well known now by most teams, and it's pretty easy for United to shoot a drone that's playing in that position. Player has left suicide, so that's call out falling back to site. That way he won't get naded. Oh no, Jarvis using a really cheesy angle to get Yeti, but it works. If it works, don't knock it, I suppose. As that's going to be one of your break room / CCTV players pushed away, and the rest of the hold from United in that area will fall back to site.
This is what I mentioned earlier on about seeing a team take Maverick here instead of a possible other hard breacher if they really want to start to attack Armory, and do so through Office on triple panel. Mavericking open and basically just cutting through the those reinforcements. It allows you a lot of power and a lot of control. That's unlucky to lose Yeti as they did, and honestly that play by Jarvis is just so bizarre. It's not something you see very much at all. So I don't know, by the way, if Factor's been droned in or if he's just flying blind, but he is now inside of Office. He still sees setup work being done, and because it's an Office take, the information from eUnited is obviously there. Nice shot from Factor that'll net his 5th kill in 2 rounds. He's waiting for somebody else, kill number 6 for Factor, and oh my, this is all Luminosity. Hyena on the other L85 will get one SMG out to try and connect onto Alfama, whose head is spotted for about a second. Alfama will win it by peeking around the shield. Toxic canister thrown out, his position pinned down as it's made aware of by the rest of LG, and Rexon is very happily waiting at the top of metal to clean up on the very last kill. He was prepped and ready. The lead will go to Luminosity.
Good pre-fire there from Rexon. And yeah, Luminosity really taking the ball and running with it in this round. And, well, this half, I guess I should say, is Luminosity have been looking indomitable so far on the attacking side. eUnited really struggling to win their gunfights. Their control is the most egregious sin that they've committed on this defense side. Rexon's trying to put together a rank stack. I guess Forrest is down. Who else is going to pitch in? Is Forrest? Or, I'm sorry.
I mean, why is he just not playing with his team? I remember very fondly the days of teams queuing up together, and I mean, Rexon's like, we need a ranked stack. Well, you have one. It's called Factor, Doodle, Hyena, Rexon, and Jarvis. Who are you dropping? That's the real question.
I know for a fact that like a lot of pro players just don't play ranked. So I'm guessing a good chunk of his team probably doesn't play ranked or something along those lines. I can't say that definitively for Luminosity, but I know that's probably what he's thinking of, or maybe they just have some other stuff going on. I don't know, but I know what you mean. Yeah, usually I guess it should be your team, generally speaking.
10 seconds to insertion. 5 seconds to insertion.
That last round, big round for Factor.
Attacker's objective is to defend
Looking pretty
the bomb.
solid right now. I mean, even including a rehost, he's got 8 kills. So that plus however many kills he had before, it's been a pretty impressive match so far for Factor. You could say he's been the largest factor in this match.
I was going to say, I would imagine the odd man out for that rank stack's probably Jarvis, because he's the only one that's not in the LG team house right now. Unfortunate timing for him to get picked up on that squad. No way he would have been able to move or relocate to America, either from a visa perspective or just simply, you know, because nobody's really flying. So how is he going to get there unless he's going to drive from Toronto all the way to Vegas, where the team house is located right now for Luminosity. So
It'd be a long drive. What is that, like 3-4 days?
it's like about 3 days or so.
Yeah.
It's probably 2 to 3 sleeps. So, by the way, this is a bathroom teller's defense. eUnited throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks, because Armory and Workshop have not worked out in their favor. A flawless round with Execute going down on one of them. And, well, I mean, you've at least got your opening pick, so it's a better start that we see, as this is the very first duel that's been won by eUnited since they've gone to defense. They have not had any advantage, nor any breathing room whatsoever. And Luminosity are just getting the fight taken to them right now. The Forest has been downed, which would put it into a 2v2, but I don't know if Luminosity is going to be able to collect him at all. There's still half of the round in what can be a prolonged, drawn-out take. Luminosity still have lots of soft destruction, and the hard destruction too from Doodle, so now the Forest has been picked back up. The advantage will be eUnited's in terms of body count, but definitely not in terms of HP. And certainly not when Factor is doing that. That's what, his 8th kill in 3 rounds? He's on a heater looking to try to break double digits if he hasn't already. He's going to sit on the bench for the remainder of this round. That's 1 minute. As Forrest will be above in a 1v1 best of cage match wrestling extraordinaire between him and Doodle.
Sunday.
Sunday. Speaking of, WrestleMania was actually last night, so this is perfectly timed. Doodle's approaching the site. Does he have the hatch control? No, but there's lots of soft destruction that's being done there. He's planting. Does Forrest know this? He'll shoot away, his position being revealed. There goes a frag grenade. This could be very winnable for Forrest. He sees Doodle and a little bit of damage being done. Could have been a headshot. Doodle had tried to get the diffuser down. He's not. There goes a frag grenade, and it's all but gone for Forrest. Rexon paying tribute to that. Really well played. Unlucky for Forrest to be in the position that he's in. That's 4 in a row for Luminosity, and they'll be on match point.
Well, that round should have been eUnited's. We're lined up for yet another Luminosity victory over eUnited on this map. And if eUnited loses this next round, if Luminosity take it, it'll be the same scoreline as last time. And last time was January 14th, 7-4. Luminosity beating eUnited on border. We're about to get a repeat. Not quite done yet, but we're about to. Again, that really should have been an eUnited round. Early advantage United. They run out, they get 2 kills. No response from LG for the longest time. Suddenly, it's looking like LG might make a comeback because Factor is laying down the groundwork, really, for that comeback. Getting those kills, one after another. And Forest shuts down Factor, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, you know, that's very winnable, actually, for Forest. He's in a great position right now. And then a nade from below, from Doodle. Great job to Doodle, clutching it out. He almost messed it up twice, but he managed to get it on the 3rd opportunity. So that's the important thing. I really lay that at Forest's feet. A little bit of a delayed reaction situation going on by the bathroom doorway. That should have been a pretty easy kill for him. I'm guessing he was either distracted by a call or maybe not looking at his crosshair when the Maverick went for the cross, because that probably should have been a kill. But it's done now. eUnited struggling here. Luminosity 1 round away from getting another 3 points, setting themselves actually above eUnited in the standings.
Still, the standings for the people that tuned in are largely set in the top 4 and the top and the bottom 4, right? You're not, no matter how many points Luminosity collects, they are not going to be able to breach the top 4, if I can use a Siege-related pun. They will, at best, if they go a perfect 3-0 over the remaining games, and after today, they play Tempo Storm, who's also one of the bottom teams, but then has to play Dark Zero, so... And that might be an incredibly crucial game for DZ, depending on how the next 2 games for DZ go. And DZ plays Tempo and then Wreck before squaring off against Luminosity. So that, you know, if DZ beats Tempo Storm later today, which is a very high likelihood given where they both are in the standings, and then, you know, DZ is able to beat Wreck, they could be very much in competition for first overall, depending on what happens with TSM and SSG. Obviously, this getting way down the rabbit hole, but... LG could pick up big points, and they have every chance to do so, but yeah, they're still not going to climb out. So, anywho, LG right now looking to put this one away. If they can't, then there will need to be a very final round. Still 1 point for them regardless, and that's an ADS eating the frag grenade from Factor that gets tossed into small office. Both Jarvis as well as Yeti had taken a bit of damage, but thankfully for eUnited, they've swapped Callout off of the dock, and Grixer's been the one promoted to it instead. He'll give Yeti a little bit more staying power, as LG did not like what they were trying to do over by Armory Wall, and have decided that maybe a mid-round adaptation is exactly what they need. That very final frag grenade will be going somewhere closer to the site, because it is downstairs in Workshop. Say goodbye to Doodle, the Maverick. Don't know what he was attempting, but Forest is on a tear. He'd looked good in that previous round, and now he's got 2 for his troubles. Alfama should be able to get 1 as well inside of Tellers as he just waits, and what will be a standoff on the other side of the map from where the bomb site is.
Amazingly, Alfama has not been droned out in Tellers, and he's behind 2 players right now. A lot of damage he could do. Jarvis will die to anything, basically, whether it be a gas canister or a bullet. And here he comes on the run-in, and there he goes. Alfama, again, amazingly undroned, will get 1 kill. Factor pushing his way into the site, but sees nobody. Dies to call out. It's all on Hyena to get 5, and that's not going to happen. A flawless round for eUnited, and a little bit of a bounce back. And definitively a better record than the last time eUnited played against Luminosity on Border. This could go all the way to a draw. It's definitely very possible. Based on that last result, what we do know is that we'll see every single round played in this match.
A bathroom Tellers, that was going to be the question I was going to ask, very quickly answered as, where are you going to go? Armory has been a failure twice. Workshop was a failure once, then you won it. Bathroom Tellers was a failure once. You're going to go back here. And I mean, if you saw the way that the results came in for these bomb sites, I think Bathroom Tellers is the safer play. It was a 1v1 with, you know, a frag grenade from below killing Forest. That was it. That's about as close as it's going to come, you know, to a win for eUnited prior to that previous round. And, you know, I honestly think Forest very easily could have killed Doodle when Doodle was crossing down below the kill holes that have been opened up. So why not go to a bomb site that proved to be better for you? And, you know, it all started off by eUnited being very aggressive. They took 2 fights, 1v1s, that they won. And eUnited is a team that can take those fights. they can absolutely win off of those. They've got some great aimers on their team. It shouldn't surprise anybody when they do decide to go for the unpredictable and put themselves in the danger zone, but then still manage to pull up before they crash. I would imagine that eUnited will probably maybe go for an early pick and then immediately go to as patient a setup as you can get. At least that's the way I would imagine that eUnited are going to play this, which might be to their better judgment, or at least to their strengths.
I think the smart thing to do right now after eUnited is to do exactly that. Try to go for those early picks. Try to get a man advantage, as we've seen them do in the past, even on this very bomb site. But I have a feeling like United's probably going to start playing it really safe because they could get the draw. And that we see that so often. A team coming to the very last round, and what should happen is probably a little bit more of an aggressive play. What ends up happening is too much passiveness. But it's all situational, right? Sometimes the passive play is the right play. Here, United's been having more success when they actually get aggressive because those run-out plays have been working out fantastically for them. Interestingly, when Nomad has been brought, she has not been much of a factor, which is odd to say because she counters, like, she inherently counters the playstyle of both of these teams on defense. And her usage has not been perfect from either team. But, I mean, apart from actually just dragging out. I'm talking about the air jabs in this case. The round, though, has been whittled down to 2 minutes left. Pressure clearly focused on tellers. Castle barricades opened up into office. Sorry, I said pressure focused on tellers. I'm in office, and it's starting to mount for the EU players who do not have many aggressive plays going on. So they have, as expected, I guess, gotten a little bit passive as we've hit the last round.
So I was wrong about eUnited trying to take this early fight. I'm happy to be proven wrong, as it looks like things are going according to plan here. And a missed opportunity for Rexin onto the member of eUnited who falls by triple panel. That's the Jaeger of Forest.
I wouldn't say that you were wrong. I'd say that you were right, and they're just not doing it. Rexin gets Yeti as he attempts to do it, actually, as he ran out on the balcony. Hyena will get Grixter as well, so it's not working out great for United. And now as the pressure mounts on the top floor, oh, with the man disadvantage, it's looking very unwinnable.
Afamo heal himself right back up as he didn't hit a single shot on a Hyena. And the Doc that's playing inside of Archives will be a headache should they not let him get punished. So look for him to be finished off. He's going to head over towards Fountain, maybe try to resume some control inside of that offices. With the triple panel being worked on by the Maverick, you can still see that there's utility for LG. They've got all 5 members up. They're at risk of stalling out as you've got 2 members of LG now that are watching on flank. That was Factor positioned watching inside of monitors, or at least close to. Doodle going for the plant. 1 member of the defense drop that's in Forest. And Call Out and Alfama, both above, will need to head on in. A flawless round looking extremely likely as Call Out will try his best in a 1v5. eUnited struggling really hard, and they look to be the North American Ents as they just are not able to win a game, though they keep losing 7-5, 7-5, 7-5. Call Out is there, he takes down Factor. Enough members of LG are low, but you're not going to be able to make it out of the bathroom at all. eUnited falls short yet again. Another tough, heartbreaking loss. But Luminosity stick the landing in the end, and they come up with 3 big points.
Yeah, Luminosity continuously winning against eUnited on eUnited's best map. That's actually the 2nd win that Luminosity has over eUnited on this map this season, as I mentioned before. And, well, relative to the rest of the region, these teams have interesting situations in terms of the standings. In fact, going into today, they had the same kind of situation in terms of wins, draws, and losses, 2-3-6. And 9 points for both teams. But now, Luminosity will solidify their position over top United in 5th, pushing themselves up to 12 points. So basically, with that win, Luminosity are the most likely team to finish atop the bottom half of North America, again in that 5th position, because their hottest competition is United, who they've just beaten. So there you go. A big win there for Luminosity, that's for sure. United going to not be happy about that loss, but it's not unrecoverable. And again, it's worth noting that 5th and 6th place, the slots that Luminosity and United both occupy currently, share the same amount of prize pool at the end of the season. So it's not exactly like United's losing anything unless they lose more matches later down the line.
The team with the toughest schedule coming up is, unfortunately for them, the team that's in dead last. And if you look at the points that are still remaining, you know, if EG loses today, there's no way for them to finish 5th. So that's one of the competitors for LG that they don't have to worry about, is now LG is 6 points ahead of EG. But EG, you know, they're playing TSM today and they play Space Station on Wednesday. That is a brutal streak of luck to end the season off with the teams that are first and second in the region. So it's very unlikely, unless some miracle happens, given the way that we've seen the season play out, that EG is going to be able to challenge Luminosity. So that's one person that you've been able to, you know, take out of your rearview mirror and not really worry about for Luminosity. The bigger story for me is that while Luminosity have, you know, been grinding through most of these matchups, I really sincerely have to feel for eUnited. This is a team that, with maybe a couple tweaks and a couple changes, could be challenging some of the, maybe not the best teams in NA yet, but could certainly be challenging some of the middle to higher tiered teams. And we've seen them do it before, where they've given good runs against great teams and just fallen short. That DZ matchup, that SSG matchup, both of those were extraordinarily winnable for eUnited, and they just couldn't get it done. There is something about closing out these games that eUnited really struggles on. Could it be nerves? Could it just be inexperience? We don't know. It's something that they will have to address in the offseason if they want to improve. Maybe they'll keep the roster the same. Who knows? I don't know what's going on with that team, but they definitely seem like one that can challenge towards the top. With that said, we'll look towards our winners of the matchup, not eUnited, but Luminosity, as we'll bring up our interview for game number 1. Hello, Hyena. Nice to see you. Oh, you changed your cam so you can look down on all of us.
Well, I just put it on my hydro flask after. This is the only thing I use it for, so you know.
I am not able to hear
adjust.
you. I'm not able to hear you at all. I don't know if it's your mic. I don't know if it's on our end. I heard about 2 words that you said.
Hello?
Got it. Hello? Oh, I could hear people hollering in the background. All right. So
Hang on, that's
question,
my headset mic.
Is it okay? I mean, I don't know.
Go ahead.
Okay. The first question is going to be, you are right now looking to finish 5th. That is your ceiling for this season. What is your motivation and goals for the remainder of the season, knowing that you were locked into the bottom 4 no matter what based on points? What are you working on changes for next season? Is there still motivation? Is there bragging rights? What is it that's guiding you forward for the remaining games this season?
Well, quite frankly, I don't know if there's going to be a next season, so we're just, playing our games, trying to win, trying to improve. We're doing our jobs, and, we're hoping for the best. I think since there's no Pro League finals anymore, a lot of teams are just using this as an opportunity to, get better with, game day experience, so that's how we're looking at it right now.
Well, it's, a different result than I was expecting, but when you match up against a team like eUnited, they're a very aggressive team. Do you have to work to contain them in a certain way? Because I noticed that there were a couple rounds where they seemed to stall out against you folks a lot more than they did against other teams over the past 3 play days.
I think they were playing a little scared, and that's not what we expected from them. I feel like after one of their rushes got shut down, they kind of played a little more passive and were taking a lot of time. But we adapted well and we played our game. And at the end of the day, it's that's all we need to do to take the win.
Was that aggressiveness something that you kept in mind when we noted on your armory defenses, you played very deep into archives and didn't really have anybody actively engaged on the armory wall or holding monitor/security. This is a deliberate strategy, obviously. It allowed a plan to go down for eUnited every single time. Was that the intended plan to go for a retake, or was it just something that eUnited read into well?
If I remember correctly, we messed up our position one of the rounds, but yeah, the plan with that specific hold is definitely to go for the retake there. Either retake half wall or, rely on our smokes or our utility underneath to deny the plant rather than just throw a body at it.
Is that something specific with eUnited, or is that just something that you look at for armory? If I can ask that, I understand that you might not want to give away all of the secrets, but I'm curious as to that's just a counter strat measure against EU, or if it's a greater play for your team because it plays to your strengths.
I would say it's more that it plays to our strengths for sure.
Got it. I didn't want you to have to give away too much, but that's what I need to hear. Thank you. Well, that's it for all the questions this interview. Anything to say to the fans before we end it?
Nope. Thank you for all the support, and stay safe, guys. A lot of crazy things happening in the world.
Well, thank you very,
All
very
right.
much. Take care of yourself and enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully we'll see you again.
You too.
Well, thanks to Hyena for the interview.